Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. This is the second part to our Diploma of Youth Work on Monday night. So this particular recording was interrupted by a storm. So this may come to you in two parts um, if we can't edit and join that together. So just returning, though we were abruptly stopped, and I can hotspot you now. So when we were talking about our collaboration um, around networking, how valuable and important that us is internally as workers, strength of us as workers out in the sector, and about establishing relationships with other service providers, we'd unpacked in the group in the first part around what works well, what we could do differently. Then we also went into a little bit on what are the benefits around it and what are the things that can go wrong when we're working in that space, and how all of this brings us back to how can we best deliver services for our clients, best possible resources around them as well. So when it goes wrong, it can be first, like the parties will intention could be really good, acting in good faith to resolve a dispute and try and work it out. Hey, look, I'm just not sure if we're on the same page, or if I'm not fully understanding what you can do. That's a pretty good way to start that. If that's the preferred option, try and communicate. That's what networking is. It's to think win-win. And then the next thing, you might end up using someone to mediate in that space, which I find is usually someone that is higher up in senior management than what we might be in that space as well. So you would have that person there. So it shows a sign of respect that this is really important. It's not meant to be a punitive thing. It's meant to be the voice of, this is what we sort of were hoping to get. And if we're not there, then tell us what you need to be able to make that happen, so that we can make sure we're covering everything our end. It's not meant to lay blame towards anybody. We're trying to rebuild a bridge and give people that opportunity. However, if that isn't there, then we need to maybe revisit the contract if it's not working. If we aren't all coming together for that one instance, and then there's those other things that are in there. So and then thirdly, if the parties cannot resolve within 30 days, and then the role of the MOU, that memorandum of understanding, the partnership collaboration, it can lapse, and that could be the agreement that you've already put in place, that if there is some conflict and we aren't able to resolve it within the team or with our representatives from management, then we would review whether it had lived its lifetime. And and it could be that we've done everything that we need to do. If we don't have clear guidelines of why are we together, what are we working on, then maybe sometimes we're there and we don't really know why we're meeting, unless we've got focus work. So a small example of that would be when we jump into breakout rooms and we have tasks and focus area, then we have bring that back out again to share that information with people who are sitting in the recording space and not able to watch the class in real time. So we have a purpose and a function, then we have a reporting requirement, and then we try and document that. So for those who could not attend, that we have another form of communication, like tonight, we can send out a recording for the second part that I was unable to finish because we had a big storm come over. And wasn't just our house, we all lost our internet access and it kicked us out with just a brief power outage. So from there, I kind of think with when we're in that space of we've got a breakdown, is to think of it perhaps through this lens of we either can't or we won't. And so if we can't, then there's an opportunity in that for us to be able to say, what can I help you with? Like it's a learning or additional resources. And if they won't, then also that's another opportunity. What's the barrier for us at the moment? And see if we can open that discussion around a meeting of minds, because things can change that are external to what we know. It doesn't need to sit in that blame space or punitive space. But what we're trying to do is come together collaboratively and work towards a common goal. But if that changes for people along the way, and it's lived its period of time and its usefulness and its effectiveness, well, then maybe we have commenced something, and the timing's not right, or we just haven't got availability of people to do that. But it takes nurturing for relationships, and it goes both ways. So when I say think win-win, what's in it for the other person, it also has to be what's in it for you in as a worker and your organisation. If you're not seeing that reciprocated and you're giving it all out and you're benefiting them, but not enough of what you thought would come back out of that, sometimes we review that, like, have we reached the end of it? It's been great. Find the positives, and then also have what we call a stop-go plan. So stop if it's not working, go again. We'll go forward or we will stop. And that's our exit point. So we then just reflect and go back and say, look, it's been really great. We just don't have availability at the moment, or we don't have the resources to be able to go beyond where we are, but pull from that wherever you can and salvage that relationship if it's at all possible. If it's a breakdown, then usually that sits with somebody more senior to us. And even when we're in that, the outcome might be exactly the same as what you've been able to do as well. We can't measure where someone's appetite is for staying in that relationship if they're not getting something out of it, or they don't want to shift the scope of their role, or things have shifted for them completely outside of their control. Well, then we need to be able to have some review points. So I call that our stop go. And what we're doing is we're working in a bit of a project space rather than a longer term networking collaboration. An MOU usually has an end date anyway. It's like, oh, we end that. So, I can be in an AM in an MOU that I've been in for 14 years, and we renew that every 2 years. So, a lot of those people in management will still be there for a long period of time, but there can often be such a change in our staff that the MOU can remain, but different representatives might be there. So that could be a review point as well. Time to revisit. I need you over here working on this project, or, like that seems to be taking you away from other areas. So there are opportunities as well. Not necessarily it's a problem. Sometimes it's just reached that point where people can make that same commitment that they headed into it with. But overall, we have networking soft relationships out there to try and all work together, even if it is informally as well. When we go into a formal agreement, there's legal entities involved other than the partner services. Often that can be around if it's we're not going to tell your staff how to behave. However, if there is an incident, we all agree that this will be the common instrument document that we will use, and it's a generic incident report, or we'll have a generic feedback complaint and positive reinforcement around what we would like to see improved. And then that could go to one delegated person in each organisation, and then they can have a conversation, and we just continue in that space. And those disputes might be handled separately, not to interfere with the process. And it could be a protocol, a restraint that's held upon that organisation, not necessarily the human factor, but it might be, oh, I thought I understood. Oh, that changes how that looks. thanks for letting me know. What does that look like now? And so let other people make those decisions as well, or you might find yourself in that decision space. But try and come at that always with the intention for that, seek to understand where it is for that other organisation and the other representative. We don't need a conflict to end things. However, sometimes those things brew underneath the surface, and usually it's because we don't have a good framework, a good understanding, a good agreement, and communication has broken down, which impacts that effective working relationship. If it's not easily resolved by discussion, then all partners will notify their parent bodies immediately. So there's some things where you have to notify your funding body, but that would be for the organisation and for you to follow the policies and procedures around that as well. So with that breakdown, just jump into there. Benefits, monitor and measure what's in it for the organisation, what's in it for the staff, and what's in it for the clients, which of course are the only stakeholders that are impacting the team that we're part of. And then the other organisations will look at what's in it for them, what's in it for their staff, and what's in it for their clients. So they monitor and they measure, and they'll go, listen, how's that going, those meetings that you're doing? Is that increasing? Oh, yeah, look, it's really made the referrals a lot better. Or they kind of do things slightly differently. But we will work our way through that just to reach a better understanding. So you may be reporting up on that work that you're doing in that space. If it's a formal one, it requires minutes as well. How do we assess it? We did that with our SWOT analysis. What are its weaknesses and what are its strengths? And then we're weighing up on the balance of it. It seems to be a good relationship, often measured in many different ways. When you're going for funding application or you're reporting to your funding body, often they'll just say, what are your connections in community? And this will be like, well, we have interagency meetings that the staff will attend. Then we have a memorandum of understanding. We have an advisory group. We have a management committee that is pulled from different sectors. So we've got both qualitative and quantitative in that space. So a committee might go, well, we have a finance expert, we have a community member, we have a youth organisation, we have young people who are attending, so that we have that inclusive process as well. So we might measure those strengths completely differently with the data that we're looking at capturing. It might not increase our data, but it might increase the strength and our spread and our information and knowledge that's going out into the community with a target group that we may never reach unless we had this relationship. So there's lots of different ways to measure how that is working. Future collaborations, and just in wrapping up this session, is types of networking, the types of collaboration. We've covered the principles of networking and collaboration, and we've discussed the benefits and the drawbacks around that. So I'm hoping that in the end, in the second part of that, I have been able to wrap that up for you tonight and cover. And like I said, I really do apologise. This is coming to you with a bit of a gap in there, but I did want to make sure that you got the full program. I know you have access to the PowerPoint slides, but I wanted to unpack it and speak to some of that before we wrapped up this session 1 of 3 sessions for CHCPRP001. So I'll sign off tonight while I still have hotspotting with us, being able to record it and send that up to our team at Hader. Please reach out if there's anything that you need, and know that we are available if you need some support one-on-one with your assessments, and then also to be able to book into role plays if you would like that. So just a quick email and reach out, make sure that you're letting us know and communicating what your needs are as well, so we can best work with you. And that's us collaborating in this space together when we're learning about Diploma of Youth Work. So I'll say good night to everybody and thank you.